Welcome, gentlemen. General Nakasone, let's talk a little bit about intelligence sharing with Ukraine. We've heard a lot about that over the last few weeks. You mentioned a little bit today in your testimony. Can you tell us exactly, how does that happen for you and your people at NSA and Cybercom? Do you have partners in Ukraine that you're going direct to with intelligence we share? Is it going up in the United States government and then going to them somehow? Just give us a little more visibility.
So, Senator, if I might, I think this is a great conversation for this afternoon or right after in closed testimony, just because I can lay out the numbers and the procedures upon which we do this.
Okay. We'll have that conversation in a closed session. I would like to know what kind of limitations that you face on what you're able to share, if any. Has the administration put limitations on your ability to share actionable intelligence with Ukrainians?
So, Senator, again, there is policy guidance that we follow at the National Security Agency with regards to the sharing of that intelligence.
Are you allowed to share intelligence that would allow or facilitate strikes into the Donbas region?
Again, Senator, I think this is obviously better handled in closed testimony.
Okay, we'll talk about it in closed testimony. I certainly hope that you and the rest of our government is allowed to share such intelligence, since Russia has announced that that is the main effort in Ukraine now, and that the White House is not nervous as a cat in a room full of rocking chairs about allowing Ukraine to retake some of its territory in the Donbas. General Clarke, you've planned a mission or two in your life. Do you think it would complicate Russia's operations in the Donbas if they had to worry not just about Ukraine's defensive operations there, but also had to worry about potential offensive operations across the line of contact in the joint forces area?
Senator, I believe that any time that any nation has increased capabilities and knowledge of their opponent, it is helpful.
I bet it would complicate the hell out of their planning, if you ask me. But anyway, we'll talk about it at closed setting. General Clarke, I want to talk to you briefly about a couple matters. The first is Afghanistan and the so-called over-the-horizon counterterrorism strikes we heard so much about last summer in the lead up to and during the collapse in Kabul. Since the last American soldier left Afghanistan, how many over-the-horizon strikes have we conducted in Afghanistan?
Senator, I'm not aware of any over-the-horizon strikes that have been conducted since we departed Afghanistan.
Yeah, unfortunately, neither am I. I think it might have been better called over-the-rainbow counterterrorism strikes at the time by the White House. Another thing, General Clarke, I want to address with you is the authorities you have. Last year, when the Biden administration took office, one of the very first actions was to remove approval delegations for actions outside of Iraq and Syria, so places like, say, Yemen. We talked about it in this hearing last year, and you probably remember me referencing a story from the previous president about his first encounter with this question when he was asked to approve a strike, and he didn't understand why some captain or major or colonel who was on the ground wasn't approving it. Has the Biden administration's policies affected your ability to get after terrorist targets in places like Yemen or Somalia or elsewhere?
Senator, I defer those specific questions to the geographic combatant commander. We continue to give that capability to those combatant commanders to conduct those strikes with our soft personnel. I defer policy over to Secretary Maier if there's anything that he would want to add on top of that.
Secretary Maier, is there anything you would like to add on top of that?
Senator, I think there's been no change in the policy from where we talked a year ago.
So at what level in the United States government does a strike against a bad guy in Yemen or Somalia have to be approved? Do you have to wake the president up in the middle of the night and ask him?
Senator, is that question for me?
Sure.
So I think it varies based on the geographic area, but there's very few that rise to the level of the White House. Most of those are within the DOD hierarchy, sir.
And at what level in the DOD hierarchy? Do they have to go to the combatant commander?
Oftentimes the combatant commander, sir, but I think it varies depending on how low they're delegated. In some cases, it's well below the combatant commander.
Okay. General Clarke, I have a lot of confidence in you and your combatant commanders, but you know who I also have a lot of confidence in? People who are doing jobs that Major and Colonel Clarke used to do back in the day. Thank you. See you in the closed setting.